generally speaking, there are two things which are very important. The first thing is that, yes, you need to make some kind of choice. Because, if you are going to ask from many different directions to get help, they're all going to be looking at each other. Are you going to do it? They're overworked like we are. So we need to have some kind of choice. We need to have some kind of direction. But the second thing that is just as important is that at the same time, we still keep on respecting everybody, respecting all others. Like in healing, I talk a lot about it because, that's what I'm doing most of the time. My main energy is Kali. But if I do not respect Shiva, if I do not respect Bhairav, if I do not respect all the spiritual paths and all the spiritual beings, then they are going to more, let's say, be obstructions if I do not respect them. So whenever I do a healing, I more or less thank everybody. It's not possible, of course, but quite a few, including using the directions, which is a very good way to do that, actually, because whichever energy that you want to address, it is always in some direction. So if you are honoring north and south and east and west and northeast and southeast and northwest and southwest and above and below, then you're not missing out on anybody, whichever energy they are. So this is very important, no? And this is also why actually this kind of, you could say, preference that you develop for a particular kind of energy never can create any problems with the others and never create any problems with other people who have other preferences. That is why in Hinduism, with so many different gods, there's no fight. Because everybody knows that the truth anyhow is beyond all these forms. That the true God, let's say, has no name, has no form, has no particular energy. No? So everybody knows that. So in that way, in one family, you can have many different preferences when it comes to gods and goddesses, and nobody will fight about that. And then, because there's a second part to your question, is then how to choose. So this depends on what you want to do. This depends on where your talent is, on what you want to achieve. And in that way, you study these different deities and these different paths. They're all actually representing a particular yogic path. And then there you feel, okay, this is what I want to do, and that is what they are doing. Like, let's say you are an artist, and very natural to go for Saraswati. And if you are an artist who doesn't really want to make only art which shows the beauty of the divine, but you also want to show, the problems of the world and then give a positive feeling anyhow, then, Matangi might be more suited. So in that way you can find from whatever it is you want to do, which will be the most likely to be able to help you there, and the most interested also to be able to help you there. They all want to help, but their energy also somehow is limited, so they have to be selective. So they will help those which they think are best helped by them. Like, I can ask Kali also, because anyhow she is my Ishtadeva, my personal preferred form of the divine. I can ask her anything. I can ask her money. Let's say I can ask to help with money problems. Because I have that close relationship, whatever she can do, she will do. But if only I would be needing that, I would never go to her. And she would also not answer that, because that's not what she is doing. But once you have established that kind of relationship, then actually many things you can suggest. Ask is a big word, but at least, like express some kind of need. And everything hangs together also. The need for money also may affect whatever I can do in healing, let's say. So it all then hangs together. But if money is the real thing you want, if that's why you want to do some kind of sadhana for your business, then better go to Lakshmi, because that is her thing. And then if you're of the sharing kind, might work. All these forms have some value for everybody, at some point in life, and in that way we are free to dig into new experiences and learn from that and get something which brings something more in our life, some more understanding, some different attitude. And in that way, as I said, it is possible also really for the Ishtadeva, for the main, let's say, objective there, to change as we change in life, and we are free. But it's a little bit like, I would say, in any kind of love relationships, if we change all the time, then maybe we'll not reach something very valuable. Good relationships, they have to mature to really bring forward the fruits, and I would say that is the same in this case. This relationship deepens, but we never have to feel that these beings or energies are somehow or other jealous of each other, because that is our own thinking. That is totally not how they feel. So whenever we feel inspired by some divine energy which is not our Ishtadeva, we do not have to hide that, or feel guilty about it, or whichever. This is not needed. Only you keep investing some of your energy, some of your practice in that Ishtadeva. That is the only requirement. Whatever else, okay, you also do, that is totally understandable also, from their point of view, that sometimes, yes, you need some Saraswati, or you need some Radhe, or you need some Hanuman, you need some this, you need some that. And then, okay, we in the West are maybe, not so much born into this and not so much knowing about this, and so that works maybe a little bit differently. And I think for most people here it works to now hear that one teacher which brings the power of now, and then hear that other teachers which makes it the here and now, like Ramdas, no? Or another teacher who more talks about mantra, or another teacher who talks about more the shadow world and how to work with that. And so in that way we are more used to doing it. In Indian way, indeed, the way you described it, people then have a tendency to go to this one or that one or that one, and read those stories and try to develop that divine quality inside of them. That is what you clearly explained also, that you are trying to be like Radhe and accept that Krishna is not coming anymore, and so on, depending on what you are needing in your life. And in that way, all the stories especially, they are such an inspiration, and so much wisdom is hidden inside. Ramayana especially also, I have studied quite a lot. So much is in there. It's just amazing, how they can do that. That is still why I always feel that I do not need to go to any other culture, let's say, as I did in my youth, studying Celtic culture, American Indian culture, Egyptian culture, all these other cultures. But at some point I realized the Vedic culture is so detailed, so rich. One cannot even study it all in a lifetime. It's totally impossible, and so well preserved, so well understood, so well still practiced, compared to most of these other cultures, which are either totally extinct or at least severely damaged, by mainstream Western culture somehow. So in that way, I feel always that the answers, I can find them there. That is a beautiful thing. That's why somehow or other I always remain an India freak, Also when it comes to spiritual progress.